Where's the Rose Towers back? I was supposed to do this last night, but again, I was getting a little tired, but we're gonna talk about the last four of the SmackDown Vs RAW trilogy. So next is SmackDown Vs RAW 2008. This was a good game, but yeah. This came out in 2007. I already mentioned the entire year of 2007 for WWE and TNA last year. Well, the last two Decembers ago. But yeah. Um. And this game is a good game. Now this was unfortunately like after the the Benoit thing, and Benoit was originally supposed to be in here, but that did not happen. Unfortunately, we already know. Um, but yeah, and look at the cover of this. You have Undertaker, you got John Cena, and you got Bobby Lashley. One of these things is not like the other. Yes, Bobby Lashley. Now, I like Bobby Lashley. I was sour on his WWE Championship run this year, but we'll talk about it when I get to the best and the worst matches of 2021, but that's later on. But anyways, the controls are a little different this time around. Instead of run with triangle, you press L1 and vice versa. Triangle is now your finisher, and instead of L1. There's uh these new fighting styles like the brawler, the powerhouse, the technical submission, showman, and hardcore, which is the best one. There is a new match type in the ECW Extreme Rules match, which is kind of different. But the only nitpick I have is you only have to choose the regular ECW arena. You can't do the One Night Stand arena or the fucking December to Dismember arena. But anyways, you have the arenas in the game. You can always go backwards in '06 and some in '07. But yeah, there's 3 ECW arenas, and this is the first actual game to have the ECW roster. So yeah. And there's tournament modes, which is a new thing. Well, we hadn't seen a tournament. Well, this is not the first tournament mode. This is the last time we had it was in SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, which I'll talk about someday. But which yeah. Tie matches are the same, but the only difference is you have to, if you want to start a match, you have to press start to do the title match. But yeah, and this is the last game until the new one, which I already talked about, had GM mode, and this one is really repetitive because of the 3 brands at this time. And there's another, which is in the 24/7 mode, which is it's kind of a season mode. Let's just be honest here, but we'll talk about that in a minute. This is the last game to have the Buried Alive match. Except for 2K16 in the Austin Showcase mode, but yeah. The Legends, well, there's some weird nitpicks in the game. Like, Eddie Guerrero is a PSP exclusive character on this game. And yeah, but we're talking about the main console versions. But yeah, this is the same year in 2007 we have the Simpsons game and Nicktoons Attack the Toy Box, which I'll talk about the Nicktoons trilogy some after another game I want to talk about soon there. But yeah. And the game mode, you have a Hall of Fame mode, which is kind of like a challenge mode. Like, there's like some difference. Like, you have to win the Royal Rumble at number 1 on Legend difficulty. You have to unlock so many guys. You have to unlock the arenas, like the WrestleMania arena. the December to this member arena. Who the fuck wants to play in the worst pay-per-view ever at an arena? But anyways, now let's talk about the main course. I save it for last, the season mode. Well, it's the 24/7 mode. Let's just be honest here, but it's different from the last two, where you get into story. Now, this is really awkward. I am currently playing this as Kane, and I already went through the first year. You have to be like 100% in a legend progress in order to like finish it completely. Which I did that twice with Batista and Shawn Michaels. Now I'm doing with Kane. But the beginning, Vince McMahon, you get into an empty arena, which is the WrestleMania arena, and then Vince says, "This is what you won," and 85,000 people screaming your name at WrestleMania, and he says, "I'm bringing back ECW," and yeah, there's a lot of storylines. Let's just be honest. I'm saying one for like the end of the WrestleMania one, or the road to WrestleMania rather. You go into a feud with the only main champions, the WWE Champion or the World Heavyweight Championship. You're not going to go for the United States Championship, the Intercontinental Championship, or the tag titles. The only champions you have to go are the main champions, the WWE Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship. Now I think, what about ECW? Well, unfortunately, you cannot be any ECW wrestler. Which means you're not going to have CM Punk in this. You're not going to play as CM Punk in this mode. Unfortunately, and yeah. But you can play as Finley or Chavo Guerrero, whatever. But yeah, and the reason why I understand is because the ECW brand was a shit brand by this point, because Vince McMahon won the ECW title at Backlash 07. If you already know it, go back to that review. You have a lot of storylines from you being a contender for the World Heavyweight Championship, you being in a movie contract, Tommy Dreamer becomes the GM of a brand, another brand, besides being on the ECW side. Stephanie proposed to you if you're not Triple H. But yeah. Another brand invades your brand and makes a triple threat ladder match. Mick Foley wants to be a contender for your own championship, the main world champion. And you find the ECW wrestlers. You invade their own pay-per-view, which is the worst WWE pay-per-view. Let's just be fair here. But you get into a gauntlet with Sandman, Marty Brown, which is his only video game appearance, and Bobby Lashley. And then the McMahons. Let's just get to the end. And the McMahons, well, Shane and Stephanie at first are on your side, but when the time your main brand appear you afterwards, which will be either SmackDown with Armageddon, but technically it starts in the January time on the SmackDown side, or the Raw side after the New Year's Revolution event. Shane and Stephanie turn on you and side with their father. Gee, I wonder where that has. Gee, who's gonna see that coming? Nobody. To you feuding with Triple H and King Booker, which is only his one of two times Booker T has his King Booker persona. The other was 2K19. A great game, by the way. Better than 2K20, actually. And then having Khali, or sometimes it's The Undertaker, but if you're The Undertaker, it's Kane taking his spot, or somebody else. But yeah. Yeah. To you feeling with the other brand wrestler, like either Batista on SmackDown or Triple H on Raw, but sometimes if you're Batista, Edge will take Triple H's place. So yeah. And it goes on. Yes, it goes on. But if you get to 100%, you're done with it. Vince gets you a plot for the Hall of Fame, and that's it. It's a decent story mode, but it should have just ended after WrestleMania. But we'll talk about SmackDown vs. RAW 10-9 in another day. But yeah, overall, I think this was a good game, but not compared to '07. It's just, yeah. The pro, the controls are still the same, basically, but the only difference is the run and the finisher run is different. The matches are the same. The story mode's actually good. But the cons, you cannot use the ECW wrestlers in the season mode if you play as the superstar. WWE superstar. You can also do it with a career wrestler, but it's still the same. And the repetitive of the 24/7 mode. But yeah, I give this a 7 out of 10. Slightly better than the first one. But yeah. And next up, down to 3, SmackDown vs. RAW 2009. One of my least favorite games of the SmackDown vs. RAW trilogy. Yeah. Bye.